huge library of Wasteland 1 information.
Okay. And obviously there's, so down here, these are sort of the pre-made responses that I have to find out more information about what my next quests are going to be,
right,
etc.
Yeah, so the keywords that you see there, they unfold from the conversation. So a lot of times you'll see that repeater units is highlighted in red, and you can see repeater units over on the right side. And then as you go through the world, there's a lot of them that are more kind of global per scene. So if you remember keywords from previous areas, you can actually say them to different NPCs, type them in yourself, and they'll have a lot of responses on that.
So, I mean, this is really interesting, and I'll keep going as I ask some questions, but, like, one of the things I know I did when I played the original Wasteland was, in addition to, like, the paragraph book you had, is I had to take a lot of notes, because sometimes even some of the stuff wasn't in there. So is this a game you think that I will do that again for something like this?
Oh, yeah. I think you'll be rewarded for taking notes,
okay,
as opposed to have to take notes. It's kind of the nuance there.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah, if you do go through and take notes, you're going to get a lot of additional stuff that some people won't see that don't do that.
So I'm being given my initial mission here, which is pretty much kind of from the get-go. I guess I don't have much choice in this, but Ace, who is also a character from the original game, you're going out to find these repeaters.
That's right. You start off at the funeral of Ace, right off the bat, and so he sort of went disappearing. But the most important thing was he was on a mission to get these repeater units up, because you're getting these strange signals coming in from the Wastelands that's specifically mentioning the Rangers and wanting bad things to happen to them.
And we don't like that.
And we don't like that.
Yeah,
no,
of course.
No.
So he's given us all the information on the mission. We do keep in constant radio contact with Vargas, which is also pretty much carried over. I believe that's also the method in which we level up once we...
That's right, that's right. Like the first game, too. He'll call in and he'll let you know whether you're up for a promotion.
Okay, so we're going to get to see the map for the first time. You can see Arizona, know that we're going to be heading on over to the radio tower.
Yep.
And now... What was that?
No, and that gives you a good sense of the area that you're going to get to explore just in the Arizona part of the game only.
Okay, so now I can actually use my hard-ass skill, I think.
Yeah, we don't have much of a tutorial in this first one, but as you see, those ones look a little bit different. Those are the skill usages.
Okay.
And so it's really easy to use them in the very first part, and that's more of a tutorial on what they do as they branch. But as you get a little bit further along, they start to get increasingly harder.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say anybody who's bought the beta, to make sure, we've seen a few people get lost a bit because they didn't go to the options screen and really look at what their choices were.
What? What's that? Oh,
the glowing shovel.
Yeah, of course. Should have grabbed that from the beginning.
Just whatever you do, don't use it on the grave. Whatever you do.
Or do.
So you like maybe.
And I'm not saying you should save the game in case you try it.
Maybe I should. Did I set my? I haven't set my quick save yet.
But if one were to, this is how this is going to go.
If one were to dig up the grave,
I feel like now I have to.
You might want to just in case.
Let's just in case.
Yeah, just in case is good.
That's a nice way of saying it.
Okay, so just in case, because there was a shovel sitting right there.
Right.
It only seems. So I can go over to.
Yeah.
All right, now
so
I can. Drag this over here, right?
That's right. And you could also just right-click on the box,
Oh,
and then
look at that.
it'll let you drop in.
Perfect. Okay.
All the little messaging stuff that we've still yet to do through sort of a tutorial or a little bit of hand-holding in the beginning, just so you know how the interface works.
So Vargas being nice, giving you a little bit of a warning first.
Yep, you did get a warning.
Uh-oh.
He even says last warning.
We're gonna do it.
Do it.
Uh-oh. Oh my gosh.
You've been dishonorably discharged. So.
And Vargas is pretty much an assassin, as you can see right there.
Yeah, it wasn't. If you had got around in, it wouldn't have mattered.
All right, well, you know,
So-
hey, this is, for everyone out there, the Wasteland is a brutal place, okay? You have to remember that for your entire playthrough.
And you were screwing with a seasoned vet, too. He's been around the Wasteland for quite a while.
Right.
But you can theoretically beat him at some point. But that's the thing about making the game the way we do, which is tricky, is that you can shoot and kill anyone, and so you have to make allowances from that from a story perspective.
So even though you can kill anyone, it doesn't necessarily mean that at this level you can kill anyone. It might be a little while before you might have to do some grinding and some extra missions, before you can actually take them on.
And then if you do something that extreme, then the story is going to take a much different.
Oops. I just used my pills. That was fantastic. I thought.
Are you using?
What happened to my shovel?
Did you use medic skill on the mound?
I just accidentally hit one. Yeah, I did. Hotkey fail on my part.
Chris, do the dig.
It's still funny.
It's still funny.
It's still funny.
You got to give some context, otherwise I'm just a guy like miming stuff over here.
No, we're just gonna let you go.
Awesome.
This would be a good thing for you to speak to about how in the first version we didn't have these three guys out there, and why.
Right. I guess as we're doing updates to the open beta, we're adding content over the top of the content that's already there. So in the first release of that, those guys weren't even there.
Yeah.
Now they're just sort of waiting for Vargas. When you come back to this map later, Vargas will be standing there, and you can give him the giving away things we're about to reveal. But there's a couple items he asked you to go get that you can now return earlier than you could originally because Vargas was nowhere to be found. He'll be standing out here.
Interesting.
Actually, before you leave the map, you should explore down to the south because I think picking up a CNPC is a really good idea at this point.
Another thing, explore every area that you possibly can.
Exploration is very important. There's Angela Death. That's another Wasteland 1 character.
Yeah, she was one of the originals too, right? Or one that you started.
That's right.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
There's a few others.
Had you found her before?
What? No, I don't think I did. I think I just left, to be honest.
Oh well, look at this.
And
this is kind of to our philosophy. If you had never found her, you would never see any of the content or all the other things that are going to happen when she's in your party, and we're okay with that, because that's how you get real consequence in these things is having whole areas or parts that are completely locked off or never seen.
And just little subtle reactivity you're not seeing. If you had someone with a little bit higher perception in your party, when you had that first started that conversation, you would have got an extra bit that's describing a tattoo on her arm that you saw, which would have added a keyword to the conversation and allowed you to explore information that you're now not getting because you didn't perceive it.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why when people play, it's so impossible for two people to have the exact same situation, because one person had perception higher than the other, and then he saw a conversation tree that you didn't get to see.
So this is actually talking. This is also sort of giving me, from the characters' perspectives, basically some background on what happened in Wasteland.
Yeah.
Filling in some of the story of the first game plus the 15 years that took place in between the two.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of CNPCs that you're going to pick up throughout the world too. You can have 7 at your party at any one time, but depending on who's in your party, you're also going to get different missions, you're going to get different reactions from people. So sometimes the characters in the world already have relationships with other people in other areas, and they might react negatively depending on who you have in there.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see. I mean, you'll see. If you get Angela to join you, that she'll talk as you walk around the maps, and then later on you can have combinations where you had 2 NPCs, they'll start talking to each other, and again, if you hadn't met either one of them, you wouldn't be seeing any of that stuff.
Once you get past the 7 mark, you have to make a decision, right? Because you can't take any more than that in your party. So you kick somebody out of your party, it doesn't mean that they're gone forever. They go back to Ranger Citadel. They're going to hang out there. So if you want, and they each have their own skill set too, which is kind of interesting. So if you need more of an outdoorsman, you want to travel a little bit more on the world map, you're having problems with water, you can go back and pick up Angela. She's pretty strong in that.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. No, I never even had a 5th person in my party.
It's really nice to be able to do this Twitch TV with you, because all that sort of depth is hard to pick up. If you just play it, you would not know unless you played it multiple times.
It was like, oh, that's it? Well, there's more. You just got to kind of hunt for it. So now, of course, they're going to have me hunting all over. Yeah, I don't like graffiti duty either, man. It's not a good one to be on. Okay. All right, we're going to go to the world map. And world map for me in Wasteland 1 was like one of the funnest experiences. It was like so simple, and but it did its job, right? It did what it was supposed to do. So things have changed a little bit in that you know, there were items that affected different things when you were going around the map in the original game, but now you do have like water that you have to worry about. You have to be thinking about your travel paths and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, maybe tell me a little bit about how you guys decided to move from the system that was in the earlier Wasteland game into something that would make sense for gamers today.
Sure, we kind of wanted to take it along with, you know, the combat and the other stuff and make it a little bit more strategic as you're moving through there. And naturally, we thought, you know, in the Wasteland, when you're dealing with a, you know, radiated environment, getting clean water is pretty important. It's pivotal to your characters being able to travel long distances. And so we introduced the water mechanic with the oasis that you can find along the way. There's also a canteen that builds up. As you progress through the game, you can purchase additional canteens. They're going to give you the ability to carry more water, which will allow you to kind of venture off further. So, again, back to exploration. Really want to reward people that are doing the wall crawls. They're exploring every edge of the map. And right now, you wouldn't be able to reach every last corner because your water might not last.
That was going to be one of my next questions, right? Because exploration was definitely one of the coolest aspects of, I mean, of the original Wasteland. So, all right, well, I saw from my map, obviously we need to go this way, so we're going to go ahead and...
You know, and this is just the beta. In the final game, there's going to be a lot more reward for that exploration. A lot of little other maps and areas and things that are not on this world map yet. So this is just kind of scratching the surface of what ultimately is going to be there.
And you can use the in key to get a cheap view of that.
Yeah.
The other map as well.
There you go. So you can see, I'm slowly but surely making my way over here. Now, obviously, these red areas, either I can't climb these mountains or maybe they're irradiated. I think they were talking. Oh wow! Really? One outdoorsman. I think I can take this guy. I don't think I fought anyone.
No, that was the skill level you needed to run away.
Oh,
so there might not be one.
Oh, there might be
there
like
might be
100 guys. Sweet. All right. Well,
you're lucky.
You got lucky.
It does look like we're going to be in good shape. Okay, so, we're welcome here.
Yeah. They don't trust you, but you're welcome.
Interesting. So, wow, I didn't even notice this here. Okay.
It's a good ambient sound.
The barking dog.
The barking dog.
And a motorcycle is good.
Oh, okay.
I flew
So
that dog in
there's...
special.
Goodbye. Do I even have scrap? I have 15 scrap. So I'm not going to buy
you
much.
don't quite have enough at this point.
But now, is this... So this is something that is pretty... New. Okay.
You could, if you were evil, you could also shoot them and take their stuff.
Okay. But I'm a ranger.
Well, you're supposed to be a good guy.
Right. But just so that...
We're not going to judge, though.
I've heard that some people play these games not always nice.
I'm gonna be nice this time, okay. I think, because we might need to come back here and get some more supplies.
So because you had Angela in your party, she has a very high outdoorsman skill. That gave you the option. You could have used the run option and not gone in there. But without her, you would have been stuck to go in there no matter what.
Right.
So is this a permanent location on my map now?
No, these are random encounters that pop up. So
okay.
You're not fully sure what you're going to get. Sometimes you hop on there and you can loot a few chests and grab some items. Sometimes you get jumped by multiple enemies. So you notice your Geiger counter is starting to tick there.
Yeah.
That gives you a little bit of a warning, and it's kind of a phase system. So as you get closer, that thing's going to move up faster and faster, which gives you a sense that you're getting close to radiation.
We had a funny design issue. I don't even know if we've since completely covered it, which is if somebody dies and you leave them on a map, well, you should be able to go back and get them.
Right.
But if it's a random encounter map and you leave your guy on the map, well, then what happens to him?
Is it
the Twilight Zone? What happens
goes
to
into
him?
the Matrix.
Right, yeah, so anyway.
The Wasteland Matrix. All right, so we found the radio tower. Hurrah. And we're going to... Oops. I took the wrong button. Okay. Yeah, so now we'll save the moment I walk in, because usually you never know what can happen.
It's never a bad call.
Right? I think save is always a safe strategy.
Yeah, we've made an active choice to try and make sure that there is a good difficulty in this game too. And the goal initially was to try and make sure that the difficulty isn't the same for everybody. It's totally based on who you have in your party. Sometimes you might go in with more melee-focused guys, and you're just going to wipe through a fight. Matt decides he's going to take a range party in there, and he has a huge, hell of a time trying to take these guys down. So a lot of the encounters are kind of based on the makeup of whoever you bring.
So I'm at the radio tower. I'm sort of investigating the death here. I'm assuming, so here as you look around the city, so I see crusty. And honestly, I gotta say, I really like the return of this. You know, like, you would walk through the map in the original game and you would just look over something as a way to offer a little bit more description, but it actually clues you in and typically has you focusing on the next area.
There are things that graphics can't do. There's just sometimes where a text will give you a
great way to
different,
put
it'll evoke something else.
Um,
So this is a pretty good example of Angela barking this information that you wouldn't have had otherwise if you didn't have her in the party.
okay, so we have some place to explore over here. Oh, I saw something shining over here. A Ranger Star. Well, I don't know, Angela. I really don't know. Let's keep going. I think we might have our first encounter here. Well,
So here's an example of 2 conversation skills you didn't put points in. Those are grayed
I
out.
could
You
have
can't
said
use those
something,
words.
or I could have said break, but
Right.
I could also tell
That's
him
your
that I'm
hard
going
ass
to
right
get
there.
him, and then I'm going to eat his dog.
Which is a natural response.
Of course,
for
of
the
course. Look,
Wasteland.
man, and we're going that. Oh, wow, that actually let...
Yeah.
Wow, okay,
Man loves his
awesome.
dog.
Apparently,
You scared him.
I was actually completely expecting a fight. Okay, we found another logbook.
Don't
page.
worry, there'll be plenty of fights.
And that could have easily turned into a fight depending upon the words you chose to use.
I'm pretty sure in my limited initial playthrough I did fight there, so I don't know. What I said the wrong thing.
Oh, you're getting a radio call.
Well, let me tell you, Matthias is small, friend.
The radio is a very large part of the storytelling device of this game.
Matthias is
With
small.
some messages that mean something, others that are more cryptic in nature, so there'll be a constant barrage of things coming over the radio.
I really like it for like the atmosphere and just the ambience it builds too. It's
Yeah.
really fantastic.
And it also will relate to the storytelling and the cause and effect of what you do. So you'll do things and you'll often hear a radio call about it later, or people twisting what you did into something that wasn't the case.
Switch over to inventory at the top.
Yeah, it's a really good narrative device for you know the perception of what people have in the world and how you're reacting to things.
That's
So
the backpacks. Just click anywhere on the screen. Those will go right. Hit I,
Oh, okay, I got you.
and you can click on the
Yeah.
middle leg.
And then, do I have to? Do I actually do something to like investigate it?
No, you just
Yes.
find out the description of it.
Okay.
Want to be answering?
Yeah, if we have any
Yes,
questions
yes,
from the chat.
you can also change your camera, the rotation with Q and E or the middle mouse wheel. If you press it down, yeah, there you go.
Radio,
A little better view.
VO for the major characters, right?
Oh, grenade earlier. That's nice.
So one question was asked if the radio was the only VO that we're going to have, and if you'll notice, Vargas has VO, and
Toast goes in.
any of the characters that are going to be talking over the radio, that when you talk to in person will also have VO. So in fact, some of the people playing beta now, if they'll notice with what's her name in Ag Center, Kathy Lawson, that right now she's only over the radio, and when you talk to her, it's just text. But we're going to line those things up because it doesn't feel right for those to be out of sync.
And I don't think I have broken toaster repair.
No,
So
just missed out on the
How
goodies.
could you pop?
I know.
I wore the shirt to give you a clue, but it wasn't enough.
It wasn't. It wasn't. We might come across a few of those.
And you know you can rotate the camera, hold it.
Yeah,
down.
the Q&E, yeah.
Okay. Or with the mouse wheel, you can hold it down and move the mouse.
There's a lot of questions
Oh, okay,
about
there we go.
whether or not backers are going to be able to upgrade to the beta. We announced in the last update that we were going to be offering that soon.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to once we get this next update out at the end of the month, which is pretty substantial. We're going to be adding a map and of a brand new area, and then a lot more of the reactive moments like we've been talking about. Some pretty major ones. New inventory overhaul that we're going to do sort of a special a limited time for our existing backers for $10 if they want to get on the beta program.
And that's for when next upcoming.
That's right. That's right. So just a couple weeks away.
All right, so I'm still investigating here.
We love all the beta
another
feedback
cave.
so far. It's making the game much better.
There's a
Yeah,
beast
we've
over here.
not only got bugs, but tons of suggestions. And so we what do we have, like 8,000, 9,000, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's a huge amount. And so we've actually, I think some people will be pleasantly surprised to see in the next update
What?
that
Yeah,
a
you
decent amount of
lost your gun.
suggestions got tossed into some of the reactive elements of the game.
Okay, so we're actually in our first encounter here. Maybe you could talk a little bit just about the battle
Get on this one,
engine.
I'm gonna get my
Yeah.
water.
Actually, if it's okay, because I'm that guy, I'm gonna turn the combat grid on. And then, so can you talk with me a little bit just about the combat system and?
Yeah, so it is turn-based combat, obviously, as you can see, and it is an initiative-based system. So it's not phase-based like the original Wasteland, where one side goes and the other side goes. So depending on how you set your attributes, your characters will line up in the act list on the upper left-hand corner in a bit of a different order. So sometimes you might see a guy getting 2 turns just because he has such a high initiative level over everybody else. But one of the kind of core things that we had was making sure that there were really distinct differences between all the different weapons and that they were viable from the beginning of the game to the end, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be good in all circumstances, like I was talking about earlier with the melee guys versus range sometimes. So there you're using energy weapon.
Right.
And the energy weapons in this build were not balanced the way that they're going to be. But essentially what those do is they're going to be hit or miss. So if you go into a fight and a guy has a really high armor class, it's actually going to do way more damage, which works counter to every single other weapon. But if he has a low armor class, you're going to do next to no damage. So it kind of heats up the armor and does like a plasma damage. to it.
Okay.
So, he's going to be a hero or zero in some fights. But then, as you go through some of the other weapons, your handguns, they're going to use a lot smaller, cheaper ammunition. You're probably going to find a little bit more 9mm ammunition than you are, large sniper rifle 50 cal rounds. So, it's all the trade-off in there. And with ammo being scarce, you really kind of want to make sure that you're focusing on which weapons are doing proper damage in the world, and you're not doing a lot of over damage and wasting weapons when you could have been using them, in a further tougher fight.
Okay, you figured out how to give him his knife back. Good
Yes. Yeah. I need. I figured it probably wouldn't be good to go. So, looks like that thing. Okay.
Yeah.
If we're going to do it, might be a fun little reveal.
All right.
Yeah, so we wanted to introduce a bit of a cover system into the game too, and so there's a pretty big swing in the chance to hit of the guys that are shooting at you based on if you're in cover or out of cover. So hopping into cover is pretty important when you get into some of the tougher fights.
Right. And is it then all sort of percentage to hit changes? Okay.
So the original Wasteland was based off of Mercenary Spies Private Eye's rule set, and that took into account a lot of things like you had the size of the enemies. Larger enemies were much easier to hit. The speed of enemies. If somebody was really fast, then you're going to get a lower chance to hit on things like that. Likewise, height. They also had a cover system that's a little bit different than our cover system, but so we want to make sure that people are using the environment. If you see a ladder and you climb up it, you're going to get a much better strategic shot on somebody than sitting down in the middle of this little death pit.
I don't know if these guys are friendly or not. I guess they're from the same guys that I.
Yeah, you got them on friendly mode.
Okay. Well, I can't lie. I don't think I have a lockpick.
You don't have a lockpicker?
Do I not? Do I?
I don't know. You want to
Try to brute force it.
Yeah, you choose the character, then right-click an empty square, and then it'll.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
You already.
Yeah, I
they're
think
all
he's
maxed
got
out. They should default to all of them, or do that already.
That one won't take
When you
it.
start, does
Yeah.
it does.
Anything
okay.
that you have
It doesn't
gets
force you
tossed
to
on.
add it in.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
What do we got here? Blood like a blood sausage.
Yeah. Any questions?
All right, so let me check my logbook. Actually, I'm not sure if I
Sweet.
Was it?
Did I?
Somebody said, does he think it's a StarCraft? Spam click for movement? I do the exact same thing. After playing Dota 2 for a while.
Which is hilarious because I do
natural.
play a lot.
Click,
of
click,
stuff.
click, click,
Yeah,
click, click.
I know, right? So forgive me. Forgive me.
We were going to put a sound effect in when you clicked on the ground, but never was a click, 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 would drive you crazy.
Okay, let's see. Did I explore everywhere here? I think I got everything I needed.
Yeah,
I got the next.
You've been pretty
A
thorough.
decent amount.
And I got another site. So, okay. So I guess my question to you guys would be: is there anything else I should maybe be
Did you
checking?
get the repeater units?
did
Oh, I don't know that we did. I think we just killed
Yeah,
the frog.
yeah. Go back into the cave.
Oh, did I know?
Where you fought the frog, yeah.
Yeah,
Which cave is this? Over here, right? Wait,
yeah, up there. Yeah. You were 99% thorough.
Almost. Yeah, I thought I'd had it. So, now, in terms of like when you're moving the characters around and the selection of the characters with their skills, will I want to be making sure that like, oh, well, as I enter this, I might want to have this character selected to focus on their skills, or how does that work in sort of like the skills of an individual and how that works as a team?
Yeah, so you have kind of two main modes. You have group mode and individual mode. If you hit the space bar outside of combat, you'll switch over to individual mode. And so you can grab a single guy and move him out, which is kind of nice when you get into some of the much tougher combats. You can start to set up your guys in different positions so that they'll watch a door and maybe put a guy on Overwatch. So, so he'll be able to see guys coming around and get the first shot off on them. Or you can even get a couple guys where you can almost lay siege on a single area where if you grab all of them together and fire, they'll all shoot and get the initial shot, whereas some games you just get one single shot off by one guy.
I do have an update.
What?
We got a dead robot. It's not good.
That's just a missing piece of audio there. He didn't go silent.
Yeah.
That's Fur Captain's fancy word for smart robots. He calls it a synthetic life form. Good, but our priority is still those repeaters. Now that you have them,
And the other's at Ag Center. So both of these are classic locations from the original game.
That's right. That's right. High Pool being a children's camp
Right?
In the
where
original.
poor Bobby
The Juvies.
met his death
Yes.
and his dog.
High Pool is at the most southern and eastern corner of our Jersey. Mayor Vikstrom there about using their tower.
So,
He knows you're coming.
High Pool, they've got a tower there at Ag Center.
Due south of Ranger Citadel and very important to what we're trying to achieve.
And they're trying
Talk to
to...
Matt Forrestal about hooking up to their radio.
Okay,
grid.
so that's what we're going on today. So.
Used to be part of an
Now,
old
did you
satellite
guys
relay.
necessarily have a direction you wanted me to go here? Because this is one of those portions where I have a choice to make, right?
Yeah, you go whichever way you want.
I think probably for maybe a 2-hour, going to Ag Center might be a little better just as far as the amount of combat versus other things.
Oh, okay. I guess for those purposes.
Plus, it's closer.
So, now, what if I chose, these guys let me pass, I went through here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really a game about choices, and nothing would be stopping me from if I just said, you know what, I guess I don't like these guys here, I want to take them out.
Oh, you can initiate combat anytime you want.
Of course, then every action also has potentially a negative reaction, like maybe I would be revisiting this place and there...
Or those guys could even show up in other places.
Well, I was going to say, it's not much of a big spoiler, but it's a small reactivity, which is there was a choice where you could convince those guys that the Rangers were looking for more, and they get excited about it, and they all run off the map to go join the Rangers. And then when you go back to visit that first map, remember where the guys were on the ground?
Right.
They're on the ground, waiting for their assignment.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's actually pretty incredible.
You're
There's
right.
that much...
Yeah, there's I
on.
feel compelled to point out some of these smaller things because again, you just wouldn't know it unless you had multiple people playing and all comparing.
And
Well, and it really speaks to the spirit of the first game, in that I had to play that game 4 or 5 times to actually...
Sure.
And I probably still never saw everything, right? I mean, that's pretty amazing.
That's kind of it. People continue to play the first game for 20 years, and they still kept finding new little things, and that's really the same thing we want to do here, where you could just keep going at it and going at it and going at it and pretty much every single time you'd play it, you'd discover something different.
So does that make it much?
You might want to keep
Oh no!
We're under attack.
I would go around that.
I'm going to be going around for sure.